Ontario, so we were close to Stratford Festival. I would celebrate internally. I couldn't share it with anyone beside me because, what do they care? But to see a Black person on stage,
Walter Barden on stage, David Collins, it's a revelation. And, it's the reason why I wanted to do this. When I was at the Shaw Festival a few years ago, Tim Carroll, TC, the artistic director, it seemed to me like he had a clear agenda that he wanted minorities to be represented. I would say to one of my friends in the green room who was a minority as well, I'd be like, that's 17. But my friend from Moncaucasoid, I said to him, oh my gosh, it would appear that the Shaw Festival has more minorities in their company than they do white people this year, 21 of 40 or something.
yeah.
And they said, does that really matter? Because their experience was, why is that even a conversation? Whereas I literally had never experienced that before. If I
Yes.
wasn't specifically doing a Black show, Ain't Misbehavin', Black and Blue, Once on This Island, if I wasn't specifically doing a Black show, I had not been in a company where there was majority minority.
Yes.
I never experienced that. But from his perspective, he was like, why does that even matter? I don't even understand why that's a thing. And that's why it's a thing. And that's why the Blacktor Studio is here, God willing, to make sure that you know that we are here. And we will continue to be here. And your job, fellow minority actors, is to make sure that we're seen. That is your job, is to make sure that we are represented so that it's not abnormal to be in a room of minority actors.
You got to show up.
You got to show up.
You got to show up. How do you make it in the business? Where do you start? It's like, show up. Show up. Let's just start with that, showing up. 2003 was my last day job.
Okay.
So 17 years ago, 18 years ago. And I got a job at Fourth Line Theater as an actor and a musician. I'm hesitant, Starr, because there was, teaching. I didn't really consider, like, I gave vocal lessons. I still give vocal lessons, especially now online and stuff, and guitar and drums and bass. But in some ways, like, is this making a living as a musician? I guess so, yeah. It sort of felt like a job. I feel confident that I can maintain it. And surprisingly, even through these tough times, I feel like, no, there's still a place for me. I can envision where I want to be and how to get there.
Amazing. The struggle that Beau is having to qualify himself as this is his career is because you have so many hats. I think, Starr Domingue's opinion, I mean, it is my show. I think that that's the point, because you're teaching doesn't mean that's not part of your career. There's many facets. It's how we are able to continue having this as our career, is that we do other things that are entertainment based or performance based or helping other performers. All of this encompasses being an entertainer. Once we're able to get in front of an audience and do what we do, I would still categorize us as being in the entertainment industry. It's lean sometimes. That happens to actors. That happens to all of us. That happens to non-actors. That happens to laymen sometimes, and that's okay. I know a lot of firemen, for example, who are firemen and they have hobbies that are like electricians. They wouldn't take away the fact that their career is firemen. But I find it really interesting that performers are like, if I'm not performing today, I'm no longer a performer. There's an imposter syndrome that happens with all of us, but we're all doing this incredible thing that most people in the world can't do. Somehow it's never enough. I encourage all of us to start to look at all of the facets of our careers as furthering the journey of an entertainer or performer, and take pride in even the smallest of victories, because sometimes that's all there is.
Good for you. Those are very eloquently said, and it rings so true.
Let's talk about your favorite roles. Do you have any favorite roles, or what's your most challenging roles? Are those your favorite roles?
Thank you for asking, Starr. What a great question. I've been throwing around blessed a lot, and I'm okay with that.
Me
because
too.
I did music because it was the best way to reveal myself or just to get my emotions out. But I was still struggling with, I love Joni Mitchell. Why are people asking me to play blues music all the time? But
Right.
I love John Denver. It's like, well, yeah, I can play the blues, but there's more to me than the blues. Every role that I have done, I have been very lucky. Like Passing Strange, I felt like this was written for me. Othello meant a lot to me because my whole life, Star, I have been grappling, what is my race?
Yeah.
Who am I? So when someone says you could do Othello, it's like, really? I'm black enough? I think that's why it took me so long to get involved into theater. It sort of it found me.
What was the best advice you've ever been given and by whom? And do you have any advice you'd like to give to our viewers?
I did Marjorie Prime with Martha Henry at Coal Mine Theater. It was the last show that I did. Martha Henry said to me, uh, "Be the guy. Just be the guy.
Wow.
Don't try to think about it too much, and don't bury yourself in the lines and the process. Just be the guy." Just
Amazing.
Phil Aiken is another one. He really mentored me. He said, "People want a musical. Write me a musical with black people in it, and tell me something I don't know."
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And do you have any advice you'd like to give to anyone?
Do it for you. Once you do it for you, you're that you're that one step further than the next person.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode of the Blacktor Studio.
Those of you that don't know, Beau Dixon is working on his black musical. And I'm not going to say anything, but you might see me in no big deal.
Starr Domingue is starring in Airborne. It's a working title. Story of Bessie Coleman, the first female African-American aviator. And we hope it comes out before I die.
Definitely before he dies.